For thousands of years, one enemy tried to stop one promise. Before the flood, in Egypt, through kings and massacres and wars, every move was designed to stop a man from being born. And later, to make sure that he was never able to fulfill his mission. But the moment he thought that he finally won, he sealed his own destruction. Today, we're going to be talking about 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verses 6 through 9, and we're going to be learning about what Satan's greatest mistake was.
Spoiler alert. If the kingdom of darkness had known what would happen with the crucifixion, they would have never, ever crucified Christ. Welcome to the Holy Hand Grenade Podcast. Let's get started. Is that too corny?
No.
Have the holy hand grenade.
Yes, of course.
Welcome to Bible study.
Study what?
Bible.
What's that you said?
Those Bibles aren't going to study themselves.
It's correct, yes. That is what I've been saying.
Oh, Lord, bless this thy hand grenade.
This challenge of making sure the audio is working correct.
Oh, I need headphones. Damn it. Hold on. Don't you laugh at it.
I ain't laughing. I wasn't. It was somebody else. It was Ashley, the ghost of Ashley.
Ashley's not here.
Her laugh was... You had ghost.
Okay. All right, talk a little louder.
Talk a little bit louder.
Or how you're going to talk. Do your high range.
You've got to be kidding me. Jesus
That's too much.
had a mystery plan. The kingdom of darkness
Do it
didn't know
again.
what got it.
There you go.
You done got, Satan. You done got.
Gotcha.
Oh.
I don't think they're maxing out. I think we're going to be good right here.
I mean, I might get loud.
That's...
Don't let that undermine what I just said. But I might get loud up in here. Might be some stuff to be excited about because there is.
We're doing fine. Oh, cat here. Yep.
So let's start off by talking about where this battle began. This battle between Satan and the seed.
Yeah. Yeah. So it goes all the way back to the very beginning, literally the very beginning. So we're looking back at Genesis chapter 3. And so it's when Satan, as the serpent, comes into the garden and tempts Eve, and she is deceived and sins. And then Adam heeds the voice of his wife and sins. And so there's the fall. And in this fall, God actually curses the earth. He curses Adam, he curses Eve, and therefore all men and all women. But he also curses the serpent. And so it's Genesis chapter 3, verses 14 and 15. And 14 is actually kind of cool because it talks about how the curse for the serpent would be that he would have to slither around on his belly and eat the dust of the earth. What was the serpent doing before the fall?
Like, to me, snakes are okay. Like, I'm not like super afraid of them.
They're my favorite, but-
I don't love them. But at the same time, the idea of a flying snake or a walking snake or whatever it was that they did before that, it's like, wait, what?
Yeah. See,
I mean, I
those
know
little
he
vicious
was.
boogers flying around through the air or something. Like, or what if they had legs? Like,
yeah, and then just walk up to you. Hey, what up, dog?
yeah, just like run.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if they had like really long legs? Because like snakes are long. Like where would their legs be attached? They could be like 12 feet tall. These snake critters run around.
If I had
Like,
an
but-
extreme fear of snakes,
That would be
snakeophobia, whatever it's
horrifying.
called.
It'd be horrifying.
Yeah, to think that they can actually get to you in a different manner
Yeah.
other than just the slither thing.
Yeah.
You know, whoa,
Yeah.
not good.
That's my mom's worst nightmare. Quite literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the fear of what is omitted. It's like, okay, so you were cursed by slithering.
What were you doing before? I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Okay. So anyways.
So that's probably
in
one of the
verse
bad
15,
parts of
though,
the curse. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the bad parts. We get snakes slithering around all the... Anyways, okay, so verse 15, though, is the next verse. It's part of the curse for the serpent as well. And it says, I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. So this is God literally declaring war on Satan.
Yeah.
So and what's funny is that he's declaring war, but he's also going ahead and telling them how it's going to end.
You know, if I'm Satan, I'm listening. Okay, wow. Okay, so there's going to be this seed that's going to be coming and like injuring my head. In other words, a death blow.
Right.
And the most I can do is just wound his heel.
Right.
Okay, I have got to figure something out. I've got to try to stop this somehow.
Yeah. What's also really cool about Genesis 3 is that it is technically the first place that we see the gospel shared. So this battle being declared and Satan being defeated and Jesus winning is the gospel. And so it's actually called the Proto-Evangelium.
Awesome.
Which is
I
just
love that.
Amazing to say. It's like Gilliam.
Rolls right off the tongue, if
It
you
does.
will.
Yeah. So anyways, I just wanted to throw that in there because that's a funny word. So Satan goes into battle mode and starts to plan on how to stop, corrupt, or destroy the Messianic line. Because he knows this seed, this man will be born. He's coming, and he's coming through the chosen people to come and stop him. So he's going to try and stop the Messianic line.
It's so interesting as we look through just the annals of time, human history, wars, rumors of wars, all the things that have happened. It's all because of this war that's happening in the background.
Exactly. This is the great war that's been going on since literally the beginning of time. So what's crazy is in the very next chapter, so that's chapter 3 of Genesis, chapter 4 of Genesis is Cain and Abel. And so the very next chapter, it is the chosen son, which is Abel, being killed by his older brother Cain. And that would thwart the bloodline of the Messiah as well. But then God raises up Seth.
So we get
a replacement son to take the place of Abel and to continue the bloodline on through Seth.
We did not get very far until we're already playing right into Satan's hand.
Yeah, and it's funny. Literally, the first dude ever born on the planet was a murderer. The first one. Right off the rip.
Yes.
we're really bad. We're really, if we're honest, we're really bad.
Yeah, we try to blame Satan for a lot of things, but
it's
we
like,
kind of
Yeah. And then we get a couple chapters after that. 2 chapters after that is Genesis 6. So there's this really strange narrative that's in the Bible that can be a little wackadoodle, a little hard to understand. But the way that we understand it is that fallen angels came down and took wives of the women and created these hybrid offspring. And we believe that it corrupted the human genome. So Satan was trying to corrupt the human line. And God responded with a flood and saved Noah, who was perfect in his generations. So we go into like a lot of detail, and explain a lot of these things in episode 6, where we talk about the Nephilim.
Yeah,
so
check it out if you haven't watched that. Yeah.
Well, but we're gonna bypass that for now. But God sends a flood to kill all of these hybrids and stuff, and for other reasons as well, because of the sin of the world.
There was horrible sin morally.
Yeah, but he preserved 8 people and then repopulated the earth through those 8 people.
And I mean, that's a great plan. Like if I'm Satan, like you successfully got everybody killed on the planet. So like, how is God going to be able to fulfill his seed? And then it's like, oh wait, what's that boat? What? Who's that? In that boat? Where'd
that boat come from?
And all of a sudden, there's 8 people floating around. God's plan's still going to keep going. You can't stop me. It's amazing. I mean, that'd be so frustrating as Satan, because you're just like, I'm doing everything I can. I thought if I get the world population destroyed by God, why not? That's
Jackpot.
Perfect. Made it. Prophecy unfulfilled.
Yeah, exactly.
But then another one that jumps out to me is Pharaoh. And how Satan influences Pharaoh to be able to kill the Jewish male babies. And so he sends out this decree. They're trying to kill off all these Jewish babies. And the one that survives is Moses. And Moses actually grows up in Pharaoh's house.
Yeah, so Moses is actually raised by the guy. Yeah.
That was actually being used by Satan's agenda to eliminate any possibilities for the deliverance of the people of Israel.
Yeah.
And the actual one that would bring them out of Egypt grew up in Pharaoh's house.
Right.
The very person that tried to kill him.
Yeah. And there's tons of examples all throughout the Old Testament of Satan attacking God's chosen people because of the bloodline of the Messiah. So I mean, Judah's bloodline was attacked. David's was. There was apostasy, idolatry. There was war. There were massacres. There was slavery. There's all kinds of things that happened. That Satan, the spirit of Satan, was behind those things. These wars upon the earth to try and thwart the plan of God.
I mean, it's a great plan. Okay, I tried to destroy humanity. That didn't work. So now I'm going to try to destroy Israel. That didn't work.
Right. So now we're into the New Testament. Right. And the Messiah is actually born. So Matthew chapter 2, King Herod tries to kill, or I guess he does, he actually kills the boys that are 2 years and younger in Bethlehem.
Yeah.
So Satan, again, working behind this man to try and kill the Messiah. But God sends an angel to Joseph and, warns him like, hey, get out of Dodge. They're coming for you. So they pack up and leave and go to Egypt. Yeah, pack up and go to Egypt, which is really funny because God actually prophesied that he would call his son out of Egypt. And so with that attack from Satan actually helped to fulfill that prophecy of Jesus coming out of Egypt.
So we start, destroy humanity. Okay, that didn't work. Destroy Israel. That didn't work. Now destroy all the babies in Bethlehem or that region, 2 years and younger. That didn't work.
Yep.
Baby escapes. Now Satan in Matthew chapter 4, it's like, okay, let's just go after the person of Jesus.
Yep.
And so we see him in Matthew chapter 4 tempting Jesus, trying to get him to sin, trying to get him to fall so that he is no longer qualified to be the Messiah. And that doesn't work either, obviously. That wasn't going to work. And so it's like this unbelievable, I keep trying and failing. And what's amazing about that story is you have the second Adam, which is Jesus, was able to fulfill what the first Adam couldn't. Satan was the one that got Adam and Eve to sin. And this second Adam was actually able to stand up against it. So
and
beautiful.
Use the word of God to do it too, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But so out of all of these attempts that Satan has made, what was his biggest failure then? What was his biggest mistake? So let's go ahead and read the verses.
Absolutely.
And it is 1 Corinthians chapter 2. I'll start in verse 6 and read to verse 9. Says, however, we speak wisdom among those who are mature, yet not the wisdom of this age, nor of the rulers of this age, who are coming to nothing. But we speak the wisdom of God in a mystery, the hidden wisdom which God ordained before the ages for our glory, which none of the rulers of this age knew. For had they known, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. But as it is written, eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor have entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for those who love him.
The gospel is amazing. Like when you read through that, what you just shared, it blows my mind.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, so let's go through this passage and break it down verse by verse and discover what it means. 1
Corinthians chapter 2, verse 6. Let's go back to that. Now, what's interesting about this passage is it's actually talking about the wisdom of God versus the wisdom of this world.
Right.
So it's comparing and contrasting. And it's a really powerful passage. And most of the time, that's what you, like when you're reading through this is a really, really helpful thing about that concept. But as I was reading through it for one of my Bible studies, the information that it was sharing was like, wait, what? Are you kidding me?
Like, I don't remember being taught that.
Yeah, this is really, really interesting. So let's look at this. Verse 6, it says, however, we speak wisdom among those who are mature, not the wisdom of the sage, okay, comparing back and forth. Then it says, nor of the rulers of this age. And it's like, wait. Okay, rulers of this age. What does that mean? And when I'm seeing rulers of this age, it looks like, okay, this seems like a really significant, like when I think of age, I'm not thinking about just like a lifespan or something like that. I'm thinking about like a long period of time or a section of time. So I'm like, these are rulers of this age.
With age, yeah. The original word is actually eon.
Eon, yeah. So it's just like, it's not just human, in other words, as I look at that. So I looked at the original word archon, rulers of this age. This means chief ruler, official, authorities, leaders, magistrates. So it can mean, and it has been used in ways to describe the Jewish leaders, to describe political leaders, kings, things like this, magistrates, but it's also used multiple times to describe guys like Satan
Mm-hmm.
multiple times as the ruler of this world, the archon of this world, and being able to see the principalities and powers that are mentioned in the New Testament.
Right. So it makes me think of Ephesians 6. So when it's the verses that say, put on the whole armor of God,
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
can withstand the wiles of the devil. I love that verse. But verse 12 actually says, for we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. So it is not just men who are doing these things upon the earth. So this is spiritual warfare. This is the spirits that are behind things that happen upon the earth. So we think that we're fighting people,
Yeah.
but there are spirits that are behind them. And so this is making that clear that there's like a hierarchy in the spiritual world of principalities and powers and rulers of darkness and spiritual forces of wickedness. It's like a hierarchy. So
It's like
there's
we
angels,
see-
there's demons, there's fallen angels, there's all these spirits, different things that are behind the scenes working.
Like we see a politician or we see some kind of other ruler or authority figure, but
Right.
moving in the background behind that person.
Satan, like it said, is the ruler of this world, and they are the rulers of this age. And so, for example, like in Luke 22, with the Jewish leaders, they were trying to kill Jesus. It was the chief priests and the scribes, and they were working with Judas to have Jesus killed. But it says in verse 3 of Luke 22 that Satan entered Judas. So Satan was the spirit. He was the power behind Judas that was performing these things. And it was Satan who had a first hand on Jesus's crucifixion.
That's so interesting to see them kind of intertwined. You see the human rulers
Working
and
together.
the spirit rulers,
Mhm.
satanic stuff, or Satan himself in that instance, working together to accomplish the same purpose. So
Right.
that's why we make a big deal out of this. While we're reading through this passage, when it says rulers of this age, we're talking about the whole family.
It's talking about the powers,
it's
the
the kingdom of
principalities.
darkness.
Yeah, the
and who
kingdom of
rules
darkness.
that? Well, that's going to be the prince of darkness. You know,
Right.
the one that's the ruler of
Yeah.
all of that.
Oh, and in Ephesians 2, where it talks about the prince of the power of the air,
Yeah.
that word prince is also from the same root word.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, yeah,
So-
it directly uses that term for Satan multiple times.
So picking up here in verse 6, rulers of this age, and then it tells us something about them. They are coming to nothing, it says. I'm like, that doesn't sound good. Like what, you know?
No, not for them. It's
Let's
not.
check in with the kingdom of darkness. You know, this
What's
just
going
in.
on?
How are you guys doing? Not good. We're coming to nothing. What? Not good.
Not good.
1 John chapter 3 verse 8 says, "For this purpose the Son of God was manifested." So this is the purpose that Jesus showed up, and that is that he might destroy the works of the devil.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like I'm picturing like an Angry Birds tower, you know, and you're playing Angry Birds and you take out the foundation of this building or this castle and it's just starting, you're coming to nothing. It's just like,
I love Angry Birds.
yeah. I play it at Top Golf, you know, the Top
That's
Golf
what I
Angry.
was
So
thinking
that's what I
too.
picture in my mind.
Yeah.
That it's just like, hey, you've built a house of cards. You've built something that's just not going to stand.
Yeah.
And Jesus comes in and just takes the whole thing out.
Ooh, that makes me think of Daniel chapter 2
Okay.
with the statue.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's the,
He's the boulder.
Yeah, he is the rock that has not been cut by hands, which means it was not created.
And by the way,
that is
Jesus is
thrown-
always the rock.
He's always the rock.
Not
yeah.
Peter. Okay.
So,
anyways.
but the rock is thrown at the feet of the statue. So it's the gold, silver, bronze, iron and clay feet. So it's Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome 2.0, Antichrist system. And so the rock that is not
Yeah.
cut by hands is thrown at the feet, and then the whole thing topples over, and then the rock goes, and it turns into a giant mountain of a kingdom that will never be moved
That's
out of
actually,
place.
I mean, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's that's way better than Angry Birds. But anyway, I try to be
I think it was
theological.
great.
I try to be intelligent, but
I think that was
massacre,
great.
you know,
Yeah,
like
no.
I can't even pronounce words sometimes.
Massacres,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. Okay. So picking up here in verse 7, then it says, "But we speak the wisdom of God in a mystery, the hidden wisdom which God ordained before the ages of for our glory." So why would God hide Why would he make this into a mystery? Why would he hide the gospel?
Yeah, why would the gospel be a mystery?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like what we talked about, starting with Genesis 3, that
The
Satan knew.
proto-evangelium.
Yeah, the proto-evangelium. It was not, he didn't know the details. He knew there would be a man coming that was supposed to end him. And so he was, he's left in the dark. Satan doesn't have the details, so he didn't know what to expect. And so therefore he could not thwart God's plan like he would hope to do. So God kept it a mystery, kept it from him.
That's so interesting, just picturing God like coming up with this amazing plan, which obviously only God could come up with, and just keeping it close to his chest all the way through even before creation began.
Yeah.
And then, because he's God, like, Satan was one of the most powerful, most beautiful, most amazing of his angels, but the whole time God knows he's going to betray him. And so even before Satan knew he was going to rebel, God knew he was going to rebel. And so God had the wisdom and foresight to hold back this information even from the angels. I mean, that's incredible to think about.
I mean, that's what this verse is saying, that if they had known, they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, exactly. Verse 8, it says this, which none of the rulers of this age knew. So exactly what you just said. They didn't know. God kept it a secret even from them. 1 Peter 1, verse 12, it says, in talking about the salvation of mankind, it's saying that it's something which angels desire to look into.
This is a great word.
Yeah. Parakupto. And what it means is to peer intensely or to stoop down so you can get a closer look. The angels are like, doing this to the gospel, like, they're
hooking their peepers on it.
Yeah, they're locking their peepers in there, just trying to figure out. We've been waiting for eons of time to be able to know what mystery, what mystery God was holding close to his chest and wouldn't let us know about.
Yeah,
and they finally get to see it. And I mean that would include also those that had rebelled, the angels that had rebelled too. So they're sitting there trying to figure out the plan. Satan and his kingdom, but they didn't know what was going to happen exactly.
Right.
Ephesians 3, 9 and 10. This is actually kind of a parallel passage to what we're reading right now, 1 Corinthians chapter 2. But what's amazing about this is it actually says, where it's talking about God's wisdom, it's talking about like the mysteries of God being revealed. It says that the mystery of God or the mystery of the gospel is actually revealed through the church. And the ones receiving that revelation or that revealing are actually the principalities and the powers.
That's amazing.
And so it's like it was designed for them to be able to watch the church and actually then learn the gospel.
Right.
Like, it's interesting because I think about the ministry of the church being, well, let's spread the gospel to all people. And I think about the principalities and the powers. Like, that's whoa, and then picking up back in verse 8, it says, so which none of the rulers of this age knew, for if they had known, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. I mean, the idea that all the rulers of this age made this horrible error.
Yeah, if they'd known what the outcome was, they wouldn't have done it.
No. Yeah, it's crazy. God's plan is so perfect that the sworn enemies of Jesus would be the very means by which his mission was accomplished. Right.
Yeah. Satan thought it was his greatest victory that he had finally won, but it ended up being his greatest defeat. It's what undid him.
I think what it reminds me of is in Narnia. There's this scene where Aslan, the lion, and C.S. Lewis does a great job, this is kind of a typology of Christ. Aslan is laying down his life for one of the children in the story. And he's volunteering his life on this altar for the Wicked Witch. And the Wicked Witch comes up and starts bossing him around and trying to tell him how to do things. And he roars. And the Wicked Witch and all of her little minions and henchmen fall back on their heinies, and they're on their back. And he sets them straight. He says this, "Do not cite the deep magic to me, witch. I was there when it was written.
Oof.
And I think so many times when we picture the crucifixion, it's like, oh, poor Jesus. He was a victim. He had no choice in the matter. But instead, we see that Jesus laid down his life. It wasn't taken from him. John 10, verse 18, he says, no one takes it from me, but I lay it down myself. So like when you're looking at the story of the crucifixion, he's in charge the entire time. At the Last Supper, he tells Judas, go what you get and go do what you had to do and do it quickly. Just go. I know what you're doing. And then he goes and he's met in the garden. They come to grab him. And just like Aslan, he says, they say, are you Jesus? And he says, I am. And when he says that, it knocks them back flat. Like there's like force, almost like a earthquake that comes out of his mouth and causes them to fall down just from the power of those words. I mean, imagine your attitude. Like, I think I'm on the wrong team here. Like, I don't think I'm getting paid enough for this.
I don't want to do this.
I don't want no smoke. No smoke. I
didn't know what it meant. I didn't.
He wasn't ready. So it's like that kind of stuff just blows me away. Next, he goes before Pilate and he's talking to Pilate, and Pilate is just frustrated because Jesus won't say any words in his own defense because Jesus wants this to happen. He's here for this purpose, to be crucified on the cross.
It's been the eternal plan.
Held as a mystery.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is going perfectly according to plan. Why would I change it? And the only time, or when Jesus finally speaks up, it's when Pilate gets big for his britches and he goes, what is the deal, basically? Why won't you speak? Why won't you defend yourself? And Jesus says, any power that you have, it's been given to you. You know, basically, don't forget that.
Yeah, because he was saying, I have the power to kill you.
I'm the one here in charge. You know, it's not you. Don't think for 1 second that you're in charge of this. And then even on the cross, we see that Jesus decides when his last breath is going to be.
Right.
He's like, he says, tetelestai, it is finished, paid in full. And then it says, he gave up the ghost. He chose his last breath. So he laid down his life and he took it back up again.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. And so Satan's greatest mistake, Jesus dying for our sins on the cross and paying for our sins so that we could be with the Father. That's what we always think about with the gospel and how it pertains to us. But then what did it mean for Satan? Like what happened to him when Jesus died on the cross and was resurrected? So to understand how this was Satan's biggest mistake is to understand that the cross is what disarmed him. So Satan tempts humanity into sin. And because of the law, there is a legal penalty that is given because of your sin. And we know that the wages of sin is death. And then Satan is the accuser. So we know from Revelation 12 that Satan is the accuser of the brethren. So what happens, it's like you're in a court. Okay, and so you're being prosecuted. You've committed sin. The wages of sin is death. So you have the death sentence for what you've done. God is the perfect judge.
Right.
And then Satan is like the prosecuting attorney. So he's running around and pointing fingers, being like, look at what they did. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. They're terrible. They're terrible. They broke the law. They broke the law.
That frustrates me so much.
Yeah. And so and he knows that God is perfect and that he will uphold the law. So he's pointing fingers and being like, look, God, they deserve death. So when that death penalty was paid, then the accuser his power, the accusing was taken away. So, in Colossians 2, 14 through 15, it says, having canceled the record of debt and nailing it to the cross, having disarmed principalities and powers, he made a public spectacle of them, triumphing over them in it. So the cross wasn't just a defeat, it was a cosmic humiliation. Like, this is, God made a public spectacle of them. I love that detail's
I love
in
that
there.
phrasing.
Yeah.
It's just like, this is crazy. That to me is just
right. But then the first part of the first verse, verse 14, saying, having canceled the record of debt, he nailed it to the cross. So the record of debt was a legal document that debts were recorded on, if you look at the original language. And so when Jesus nailed it to the cross, it's saying that he paid for the debts and that it canceled the record of the debt. So not only is the debt paid, but
So
the debt
powerful.
is forgotten. And we're taught that in scripture as well. So our sins are not just forgiven, they are actually forgotten. It says that God separates us from our sin as far as the east is from the west. So now Satan has no power because he has nothing to accuse us of. He'll be like, hey, remember that time that she lied? Remember that, God? And he's like, no, I don't. Because her sin has been forgiven and forgotten.
I love this phrasing. It was nailed to the cross.
Exactly.
It was nailed to the
Right.
cross.
So then in Hebrews 2:14, it says that through death, he, meaning Jesus, might destroy him who had the power of death. That is the devil. So what this verse is mean, God, we know from Deuteronomy that God is the one who gives life, gives breath, and takes it away. But what this is saying is that Satan knows the law. He is the accuser, and he knows what the penalty is. So he has the power of death because he enforces it upon us. But when our debts are forgiven, they are forgotten. The accuser loses his power, and he no longer has power over death. So Satan's biggest mistake was him being stripped of his power.
It's crazy to think about. And I think the moral of the story is snitches get stitches.
Snitch. Sure. That's the takeaway.
Yeah, that's the takeaway. No,
Nailed it.
But I mean, it just like thinking about Satan just running around accusing us all the time
Right.
and taking, oh God, did you see Sam did that? Oh, did you see Nicole did this? Oh, look.
Right.
That's like one of my least favorite kind of people. you know, kind of stuff. It's like, that's so annoying. I see that in the book of Job too, where he's just like, God, have you look at Job? And then God's like, yeah, you know, or I think God brings it up first. Have you seen my servant Job? But then he's like, yeah, but if you do this to him and do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's just this backbiting, seedy little, you know, behind the scenes kind of thing. And it's like very frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I see that.
I love that saying that, what is it? When Satan brings up your past, bring up his future.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, looking here at verse 9 and in conclusion, I love how it brings together the gospel. Look at this. Eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor have entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for those who love him. So the conclusion of this passage, talking about these powers, Paul is quoting the Old Testament and how God was keeping his wonderful plan through all of this.
Right.
And I mean, immediately, Romans 8:28 comes to mind.
Absolutely.
You have to, and I know this is really quoted a lot, but this is a fantastic example to use that, and we know that all things work together for good for those who love God and to those who are the called according to his purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. It really made me think of Joseph, because we're in our Bible study, our ladies' Bible study, we're going through Genesis.
Yeah.
And we're going to finish soon. We got 2 chapters left. So, but the story of Joseph, you know, being betrayed by his brothers, going down to being sold into slavery, and then he's in jail, and then he's, you know, all these different things that he went through, and all of the stuff from his brothers betraying him. You flash forward to chapter 50. And Jacob has just died. Their father has just died.
Yeah.
And they have taken him back up to the promised land and buried him at Machpelah with Abraham and his fathers. So afterwards, the brothers are kind of freaking out because they're like, uh-oh, dad's not alive anymore. What if Joseph is still really mad at us and now he takes revenge because dad is gone?
Yeah.
And so they come up with this whole thing, this
He's
lie
coming
that
for
they're
ya.
like, well, by the way, this is what dad said. And it, you know, but it's sad because it breaks Joseph's heart because he sees
Right.
the guilt that's there. And so his response is, but as for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good in order to bring it about as it is this day to save many people alive. So it's that famous verse that what you meant for evil, God meant for good. And it's amazing. So with this, and it says that he was there for a purpose. So if they had not sold him into slavery, if he had not gone down to Egypt, if he had not been in Pharaoh's house, if he had not received those prophecies from the Lord that there was famine coming, he
Right.
wouldn't have known to gather food for 7 years to prepare for the 7-year famine. And he is saying that if none of that happened, this day would not have come because he was not there to be able to save them. He was able to save the world, feed the world because of what his brothers did to him.
And that's
so
the
God
picture of
used
the
it for
cross.
good. Exactly. So what Satan meant for evil, God meant for good.
The most diabolical attacks of God's most powerful enemies only helps to fulfill his perfect plan.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what this comes. The harder that Satan and his kingdom of darkness try to thwart the plans of God, especially with the gospel,
Yeah.
the harder they try, the more they fail.
Yeah. Well, it's like the cross was a divine trap. Satan was the deceived party, and the resurrection was the reveal. So it's like he thought he got him. Yes. And then like 3 days later, I'm back. And it's like, oh no. So it was the reveal of him being, he been God.
Done got God.
He done been God.
Yeah.
So the cross, what Satan thought was going to be his victory was actually his undoing.
Amen.
So it ended up being Satan's biggest mistake.
Satan's biggest mistake was actually killing Jesus on the cross. He unknowingly helped to fulfill the gospel that would save mankind. If you like this episode, like, comment, subscribe. This way you get notifications anytime we make a new episode. Also, we have a Patreon if you want to join and help support us as we're putting these episodes together. We love doing it for you guys, and we grow so much personally and want to share these truths with you. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thing so that whenever we post a new episode, you'll get to know that. Yeah.
No, good.
Okay.